to day 8. We have begun week number 2. Congratulations, you have made it into the second week. And I do thank you for trusting me and for working hard and continuing on this journey as you leap to lead. So today we're going to talk about being overwhelmed. I'm going to call it the balancing act. It takes a lot. Trust me, my journey with Sensi has not been perfect. I'll tell you a story. There was a point, so this is in 2008. So my children were 5 and 8 years old. And if you remember my story from the beginning, I had a full-time job. I was still doing judging on the weekends. I was in the PTA. Both of my kids played sports. And I was doing lots of Sensi parties and sponsoring lots of Sensi people. So it was really, really hard, let me tell you. I remember my kids getting home. I had Fridays off at the time, and I remember them getting off the school bus, and me, every time I'd hear that school bus, I would go into panic mode, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're home. I didn't get enough done. And I remember making myself set the timer on my stove for 30 minutes because I was like, Jen, you need to spend 30 minutes with them. So anyway, my point being, I get it. This is tough. It's a balancing act. And so I want to help you with maybe some of the mistakes that I made and some of the things that I've learned along the way. Because we always have tons of things to do. Just when you have everything organized and together, it's time to change out your testers. Or you get a new stack of catalogs that all need to be labeled. Or your product comes in and it all needs to be labeled. All of that. It's so hard. We have to run a home. We have to run a family. We have to be a wife or a husband. We have to take care of the kids. We have to go to the games. We have to go to parties. We have to mentor our team members. I mean, it's a balancing act. Absolutely. And you know what? You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. That's one of Becca's favorite quotes. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You do the best you can. When you make a mistake, don't do it again. When you say the wrong thing, apologize. It is a balancing act. We grow, we get overwhelmed, we just have to learn. Because part of becoming great is doing uncomfortable things and making mistakes. No great people got to where they were by it just being, super, super, super simple. Like, for example, Oprah Winfrey was told when she applied for a job on a news television show, and they told her she was too ugly and that she could never be on TV. Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team. So anyway, point being, there are multiple stories about amazing, great people who failed forward. They chose to keep trying and to work hard. So it depends on how bad you want this, how strong is your why. It's always going to come back to your why. When you feel like things aren't going well, when you feel like, I just don't feel like working Sensi anymore. This week, I just don't have time. It's because your why has changed or your why is not strong enough. You need to sit down and go back to that page 1 and figure out what your why is. What is it that's going to make you work a little harder? Okay, sometimes people let go of their Sensi businesses and they always come back and they regret it. And when I have conversations, they'll say, I just didn't think that there was another option. I just didn't know what to do. I was becoming overwhelmed. So structure and routine are your friend. And I'm not a super structured and routine person. So it was really a big learning curve for me. I have undiagnosed OCADD. I have OCD, ADD. I have every DD you could possibly want. I see squirrels in every conversation that I have. I struggle. I am often in survival mode. I have spent my almost 10 years journey with Sensi in survival mode because I'm just trying to do everything the best I can. I make mistakes, I pick myself up, brush myself off, and keep going. Okay, so let me think here. What did I want to start with? So I know. So when I look back on my journey, when I look back at those weeks where big things happen, like for example, this is huge, but the week I made Superstar Director, oh my gosh, what an amazing accomplishment. Like that is ginormous. But then I would look at my family and I'm like, oh my gosh, my family ate out every single night this week. I don't even know if the laundry's done. I have absolutely no, so it were things like that, and I would have that guilt, that mom guilt, that wife guilt. So anyway, point being, we have two parts of our lives. We have our business and we have our home, our personal lives, and you have to learn to work with them together. And like I said, there's no answer. What I do might not work for you. What you do might not work for me. But I'd like to help you try to create somewhat of a game plan. So I have accumulated some tips, some ideas from people things that have worked for me, and for with conversations that I've had with other people. All right, so let's see. Okay, now as I also tell you this, as I give you a few ideas, if it's overwhelming to you, just take one of the ideas and run with it, or take two, slowly add them in, try them, see if they work, alter them, make them work for you. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I wrote some notes down because, like I said, my brain doesn't go the right way often, doesn't think the right way. Okay, so, another thing that I did want to bring up was that this isn't just a sensi thing. This is what all business owners or highly successful people deal with. It's not just sensi people. So everybody has these problems. You look at anybody on TV. I mean, I love to watch Savannah and Hoda. And you hear them, you follow their Instagram account. They have the same problems. They've got to, they have to be to work super early in the morning. They have families, young children. They need help. They need to come up with systems, routines, and schedules. So it's no different than anybody else. We just have the luxury, the freedom of being home, which is really pretty great, and the ability to write our own paycheck. So you can't get a job in many places where you literally choose the amount that your paycheck is. The harder you work, the more you give, the more money you can end up making and then doing what you want with that money. Okay, so let's talk about food. So cooking, like I said, I mentioned that when I made Superstar Director, I stopped and thought, oh my gosh, my family ate out 5 nights this week, and then we ate out the 6th night, and then the 7th night, it was fend for yourself, something frozen out of the freezer. So I get it. There is an app on your phone that you can get that's really cool. It's called Yumly, and I'm going to show it to you. YUMMLY. Okay, so it looks like, if you see at the top, that YUMMLY. So you set it up, you give it ideas of foods that you like, and then you can actually go in and say, okay, right now in my refrigerator, I have a pound of hamburger and I have a can of stewed tomatoes. You can put those 2 items into that app. It will help you create, and I put simple, so I'm a simple cooker. I am not a cook by any means, and it'll give me some ideas. Another thing that Laura Godwin, who's a Superstar Director, an idea that I've heard her talk about, which is an amazing idea, is she does what she calls double cooking on Mondays and Thursdays. So on Mondays, she'll make 2 pounds of hamburger and then put 1 pound aside, so that, say Monday night, she'll have spaghetti. She'll make spaghetti with the hamburger, and then since she's already made hamburger, she makes 2 batches of it. She'll make a second pound, and she will use it to make tacos. And you could even do a 3rd thing of hamburger and throw it in the freezer, so that when you're really busy sometime, you can just take it out in the morning, that hamburger's ready, throw in some taco seasoning, and have tacos. So something like that. The other thing is, let's say you make lasagna. Make 2 lasagnas. Eat one for dinner, put the other one in the freezer. Anything like that. So try the double cooking. If you're going to make some chicken, if you're going to roast a chicken, roast 2 chickens. Pick one of them, either freeze it or put it in the fridge for the next night. You can add some broccoli and some Alfredo sauce or whatever you want. Just try to double up so you're using your time wisely. Make 2 days a week your cooking days. And then a lot of times people, you either go out to eat on Saturdays or have a big leftover day, and on Sundays make it family day where you go out and have something together or have your kids cook dinner or something like that. So just try to really get into the routine. You know, another really big, huge thing, I probably should have started this, is with family meetings. So that's one thing I was really good about. And I have mentioned how lucky I am that my husband was so supportive. So he was doing a lot of the dishes. He was doing the laundry. He was doing the cleaning. He was packing kids' lunches and things like that. Now, one thing that I forget to often say is that people are like, oh, well, my husband would never do that. Or he did it for a week and then he was done. But I have to tell you that I was making money. So it wasn't like he was doing all of this stuff for nothing. I was able to show him, honey, look at my numbers. Like, look at, because I got to spend those extra 2 hours while you did the load of laundry and put the dishes away. Look at what I did. I made 16 calls and all these people are, on board and they're going to do this little program that I've started. So I forget, I don't really know how to say it, but I had credibility. It wasn't like I was pouring in all these hours every week and then nothing was happening. My paycheck would come and it was, it was $32.97 is what I meant to say. So I was actually making some decent money and I was involving him, because a lot of times our spouses or our significant others don't know what's going on. They're kind of blind to what we're doing. They have no idea how much work it takes, but how grand the payout can be. So you really want to have a family meeting. So when it comes to things like dinner, if you say, hey, the reason I'm going to start cooking on Mondays and Thursdays, and I really need some help, and here's why. Because I'm going to take those extra 3 hours and I'm going to dump them into my Sensi business, because as a family, I want to take a vacation. So what's your dream vacation? Where do you want to go? Family meetings make so many things better. Okay, so we talked about food. So let's talk about cleaning. You're at this point in my Sensi business, I will tell you, going back, the one thing my husband and I both hated was laundry. He was doing pretty well with the dishes. Washing the laundry, I meant putting it away. Washing it wasn't so bad, but putting it away, we were digging out of baskets. It was frustrating. Our clothes were all wrinkled, and it was, you guys know, you probably have been there when you have the clean basket and the dirty basket, and you dig out, and you've got to iron everything, so it's taking you twice as long because it's been sitting in a basket for 3 days, and it's all wrinkled, and you can't walk out of the house like that. So one of the things we invested in as early as we could, this was one of my goals, was somebody put my laundry away. So somebody comes to my house. I know that sounds crazy, and it sounds like I'm a spoiled brat, but it really was like, it's way more important to me for somebody to put my laundry away than like to have a grocery service or to anything. Like laundry was our big, and that's where we would get like frustrated because we'd be rushing, and he would say, do you have time to iron my shirt? And I'd be like, no, do you have time to iron mine? So having our laundry put away has like really made our marriage so much greater. So those kind of things, learning what, put that on your list. If there's something out there, if your husband's always frustrated that the toilet isn't clean, well, have somebody come clean your toilets once you're making the money to do that. So that's the other part of it, is you have to build the credibility in the business, build belief in the business and belief in yourself, so that he or she or whomever you're living with is willing to help you with that. So one idea that I've heard is every Sunday, commit to spending 10 minutes in your house doing something. So on Sundays, write down 5 things you're going to do this week. I'm going to clean the toilets. I'm going to vacuum the floor. I'm going to mop the floor. I'm going to, what else is there to do? I'm going to, as if I can't think, dust, and I'm going to change the sheets. So if you did that, like those 5 things, okay, I'm going to do those 5 things this week. Wake up, take 10 to 15 minutes, get those things done. Eat that frog, if you've ever heard of that book. Get those things done first. So just some simple ideas of ways to help you. Delegating. Delegating is huge. Learn to delegate. Do you know, as a business owner, you can pay your kids, as long as they're a reasonable age and you give them a reasonable job, you can pay them to help you. Do it. Take advantage of it. My daughter, when she was little, she always created my birthday cards. So she would draw something, then I would scan it and send it to Vistaprint and make it into a postcard. It was the greatest birthday card you would ever get, because it came hand-drawn from my 5-year-old daughter, and it was a little Sensi buddy or whatever it was, and people appreciated it and loved it. Another thing is, I bet you know teens that love Sensi, that would work for Sensi. Have you ever thought of that? What if you hired a local teen, a neighbor or somebody from your church or somebody from the school or your friend's daughter or whatever? It doesn't even have to be a teen. It can just be somebody who loves Sensi to come to your house 1 hour a week and do some labeling for you. Say, you know what, every Wednesday, if you could come over and organize this cabinet, which always ends up a mess by the end of the week, because that's going to help you be more organized and get more done. Then you pay her $5, $8 an hour in wax. Just give her some wax. Say, hey, I don't have the money to pay you, but I would be happy because you're going to get some free and half price stuff from your parties. I'll pay you in Sensi product. Have them filling, whatever it is, addressing cards for you, handwriting some notes for you if you don't have time to do it that week, or labeling your new catalogs that came in, labeling your product that came in. Say, hey, I have a really big party coming in on Friday. Can you come over and label the stuff for me so I can put it together? So delegate to your family, pay them if you can, or you don't have to, but you know what's really cool is once you're a business owner, so Sensi, my business, I'm a corporation now, I can pay my kiddos to help me, and then they can pay for things like their own sports tax-free because they legitimately work for me. They legitimately put in hours. I pay them, and then they're allowed to pay for their own sports. So instead of me writing that check for $500 to the hockey program, they can write their own, and it's just basically money that I would have paid taxes on. So anyway, you get it. There's a big benefit to hiring your own family, or like I said, get creative. If you're a piano teacher, say, hey, if you come work with me, 2 hours a week or whatever it is, I'll give your child a free piano lesson every week, or however, whatever it is, whatever gift you have, use it, but learn to delegate. Let's see. What else? Do I have anything in here? Okay, power hours. So there's a couple different ways. When you get to a point where, you know what, you learn, I got to commit an hour a day to my sensi business no matter what. So there are a lot of different definitions of power hours. So some people write down 5 important things and they say, okay, I have 1 hour, I need to accomplish all of this in 1 hour. A.D. Mitchell is a very successful, amazing, incredible sensi superstar director. And she did a training on something called the power hour. I'm looking at my phone because I pulled it up so that I could share it with you. So she breaks an hour up into 4 sections, 15 minutes. So she takes 15 minutes to look down, 15 minutes to look in, 15 minutes to look up and going forward. And I missed one, in, out. So down, in, out, up, and going forward. Sorry, those were the 4. So looking down, it says, look down into your downline, check your totals, check new recruits, struggling consultants, powerhouse consultants, and rake advancements. So take 15 minutes to check those things. And then take 15 minutes to look into your business. So recognition is huge. Remember, what gets recognized and rewarded will get repeated. So if somebody feels really special that they earned the 2-year plan and you really shouted them out, they'll do it again. So what gets recognized and rewarded gets repeated. Send emails, send thank yous, welcome emails to your new team members. Put new team members into your email address book, awards, etc., things like that. Then looking out. Your next 15 minutes is looking out. Customer service, customer follow-ups. Conquer any problems that are going on. Contact hostesses of upcoming parties or past parties. Calling your party calling, so calling people to check in and see if they got their orders and how they're doing. Adding emails to your newsletter on your website, your workstation email, whatever it's called, the newsletter that they send out for us. Checking your mini testers for missing testers, updating your hostess packets, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the next 15 minutes, and then your final 15 minutes is looking up and going forward. So this is more personal stuff. So evolve and evaluate yourself to get better. Things that need improvement, your business, finding new leads, advertising, brainstorming, working on your why, file business expense receipts, check mileage, check your mileage book, make sure it's up to date, calculate trip points, and most of all, setting your goals. Do this all in baby steps and pace yourself. So learn how to really work on that power hour. Ironically, the last thing I had written down was scheduling family meetings. So we already talked about that. And really involve your family, involve your spouse. If your spouse feels important, or your significant other, and feels part of your business, they're willing to help you more. Or if you're kids, if you're a single parent, then use your kids. Say, look, this is why we're working so hard. Nobody wants to watch you work all the time for you, but if they know that they're going to benefit from it, they're going to want to help you. If they know that their lives are going to change, that things are going to get better for them because of the hard work, and if you allow them, if you lead them and guide them to see the true potential, amazing things can happen for you and them and for your relationship. So hopefully that helped you to try to work on the balancing act a little bit. It's hard. There's never a right or wrong, but just trying, failing forward, like I said. So good luck as you continue to leap to lead.